It's Christmas Eve. It's HHV the judge. I'm Simon Holden, the Sheriff of Tippingham. There is the judge. He's got the judge's wig on with a Christmas hat on top. I mean, you know, you've got to give it a guy. How are you doing, Judge? Mate,
Yeah, fine,
may I be the
fine,
first
thank you,
person to wish you a Merry Christmas this
Merry
morning?
Christmas, and let's hope it's a lucky one for you, mate.
Yeah, nice one. And a big thank you to everybody who's watched our videos all year. We hope you have a very Merry Christmas. We're going to give you a selection, and we hope you have a great Boxing Day. I'll be back Boxing Day morning on here. The judge has got some big bets lined up for his club,
Yes.
and I've got some monsters for mine. But we're going to have a look at the Long Walk Hurdle. Now, this is 12:45 at Kempton. This race is rearranged from Ascot, which was cancelled. Now, it's great to see racing rearranging these races, Judge, and they're bringing it to Kempton, and it adds further spice to an already crackerjack of a card. So we're going to have a look at that, give you a selection each, and then let you get about your Christmas Eve. So, Judge, I'm just going to go through the race conditions, and I'll bring you in. It's at 12:45 now. The going's going to be soft. We've had a lot of rain down here, a lot of rain. Kempton, very different track to Ascot, makes it a very different race. This is a speed track. Ascot is all about staying. Now, 5 runners go to post. Let's hope they all make it. I'll whiz through the runners and riders now, all 5 of them, and give you the best price I've got. There is out there. You can't back it with me. Yeah, well, you can, but I probably won't pay out. Now, top of the shop is Champ, who will become 11 years old on New Year's Day. Wow, it seems to have been around for ages. Champ's 7-4. We then have second favourite, the Paul Nicholls mare Miranda, who's available at 100-30. We then got Paisley Park, who's the same age as Champ, been around for ages. What a brilliant horse. He's 4-1. Goshen is also 4-1. Trying this trip, the old rascal Goshen gets called all the names under the sun, but he'd be a hell of a horse to own, the amount of money in races he's won. And then the outsider of the pack, Not So Sleepy, trying this trip for the second time in his career, trained by Hughie Morrison, ridden by Jonathan Burke, who seems to be appearing on every preview as this year's sort of hot jockey. Right, Judge, let's start with the outsider. We'll go through all 5. Not So Sleepy is a dual-purpose horse. We know he can be a little bit troublesome at the start sometimes. He's nearly taken out half the field at Newcastle once.
That's right.
He is a hell of a horse. Yeah, he probably were on one of the others. He's rated. I'm going to give the ratings here. He's rated in the official rank book. Get it right at 158. So very, very lofty. This is a high-class race. What do we think? Can we make a case for Not So Sleepy, Judge?
A little bit, mate. Yeah, because obviously it was taking on Constitution Hill and Epatante last time out. The track it has done well at. Run okay, but I think it was taking on a bit of a world beater last time out. Obviously, the trip is the concern. He was a thorough stayer on the flat. He obviously ran well with Cesarovic on more than one occasion. He's getting to the stage where I think he wants about 14-1. I might put a nominal win bet on him because he would be a win bet. He could get his own way out in front, depending what Goshen does.
True.
So, look, it's not one I'm going to be tipping up. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it went slow at the end and he went away, kicked off that own bend and he was able to get a couple of lengths. It'd be hard to pick back on it if he's on a going day, but there's just too many question marks for me to tip him up.
My concern with him, and I told you when I first started working on this race, I did think I'd probably lean that way because of the price, is at this stage in his career, it's a bit odd to be, I would say desperation, but it's like they don't know what to do. They've had him at his usual 2 miles. He's got royally stuffed by, he ain't going to be troubling the judge in the top 2 mile races. And here we are again. Now, they have tried to step him up once to this distance when he was 7, and he did not, in the trainer's words after, he did not get the trip. I put it to you, Judge, why would he get it now when he didn't get it at his absolute peak, age 7? So to me, it's a no. He's a great horse. I backed him at a big price to be placed in the SES at 40s, and he did the business over 2.5. Now, that would lead you to think he would get this trip, but The form book
Yeah,
doesn't.
the one interesting thing, I don't know, I'll throw this back at you, is when you get the 2 milers that go up in trip, for example, like your Classical Dream, along the Abracadabras line, the horses that have gone up seem to beat these 3 milers, don't they, that you think might not get the trip. So it's not a foregone conclusion. I just don't think the 3 milers are actually that great, but we shall see.
Yeah. We shall see, but I'm afraid it's enough for me. I do like the horse.
I agree.
Let's go now to the mare, number 5. She gets the mare's allowance. Now, this is very interesting. There's a big hot topic. I know Chappers is always going on about get rid of the mare's allowance, blah, blah, blah. Whether that'll ever happen, I'm not so sure. But she does get £7 from the field. She's been very, very well backed. But I'll throw this at you, Judge. If we add that £7 advantage, that takes her to a mark of 153. So even with the mare's allowance, she's comfortably on the book, and she's 7. She's had plenty of races. She's comfortably still the worst horse in this race, even with when we add that mare's allowance. I cannot get my head around this price, but tell me, am I being unfair? Does she merit being 100 to 30 second jolly?
Well, on the form book, Matt, I think she's the worst value in the field. I'm certain she's the worst value in the field. I mean, irrespective of whether she wins the race or not. I mean, she's got a lot to find with all the other runners, and she's in at second favourite. I mean, it was pretty much a bit of a weird egg and spoon race last time out, that 3-horse race. I didn't know really what to make of it, but I was thinking going back to June when obviously that's first trial at 3 miles, her first trial. So, I mean, obviously she got the trip well enough, but she might have beaten 2 non-stayers. Who knows? You just don't know, really. And I'm looking at the run at was it Worcester, or got beat by Solo Saxophone in an handicap. I mean, crikey, it's not really what you think long walk hurdle form, is it really? I mean, you've got to admire, Paul Nicholls is improving these mares and that, but she's terrible price for me, and I don't fancy her at all.
No, and the thing is, she's priced on the back of like you've just alluded to, a highly dubious race. Now, it was a 3-runner mares race. They were all having the first run of the season. I went through some of the paddock pickers' notes after, and the horses she beat, one said, looked totally unfit. Now, how do we know the other one? It was the first run of the season, Martello Sky. I suspect, and at that week, Nicholls had loads of winners. I suspect he got Miranda fit for her first run of the season. The other 2 were having a little sighter, and she has been, in my view, and maybe eggnog on the old face, because Boxing Day. But I think that is one of the. How many race meetings are they on Boxing Day? Is it 8 or 9? I lost count. I'm going to make quite a bold prediction. I think this is the worst value bet anywhere on Boxing Day.
You're right. It's a shock. Yeah. I thought I'd had her about 10 to 1, if I'm honest, 12 to 1.
I've already laid her a bit, and I'll be pressing up. So I'm really at that price. You've just gone through. So she failed to beat some extremely ordinary handicap hurdlers, age 5 and 6. Now, all this about up in trip, I struggle to see how she's going to find, even with the mare's allowance. She's got to improve, I think, about stone on anything she's ever put up. Now, look, Nicholls is champion trainer for a reason, and he may have been bringing her along gently for 4 years. So for this day, who knows? But I'm laying at that. So I cannot have Miranda, I'm afraid. But he's probably forgotten more than we know this morning before breakfast. Right, let's go on to what will be my selection, Judge. It's a horse I thought at the end of last year, it was one of them like, please retire. You can do no more. What a great career he's had. What a great story. And Emma Lavelle has brought Paisley Park back. He's discovered some pace again. He's discovered the ability to lie up again. And I think he's a great price at 4 to 1 here. How can he be a bigger price than Miranda? It's absolutely insane. He's rated 160. He took part with Champ in, I think, the race of the season so far. I think it was absolutely brilliant, those 2 going at it last time. He lost by a cigarette paper to Champ, who's the favourite here. I think he's got a right chance here, and I'm going to back him at 4 to 1. It's Paisley Park. I don't think we need to say much about him. We all know who he is and what he's done. Come on, George. He can't be 4 to 1.
Well, he can't be 4-1 if Miranda's 100-30, that's for sure. So,
insane.
But the only thing I'm going to say to you, Si, you know for a fact, if he's 4-1 now, he'd be 8-1 halfway round because he's normally under the pump. My only concern with him is the track because it's a sharper track, Kempton.
The ground will slow him down, though.
Yeah, which is a positive. Look, it's going to come to my selection in a bit. There's obviously not a lot between them, as we already know on more than one occasion. He probably is the value at the prices, but he's a sort of horse, to be honest with you. I will stick in sort of 10-1 in. You know, just hope he comes under the pump as they turn into the home straight, and he'll look beat, and then all of a sudden he could take off. He has done on more than one occasion. But for me, I do fancy one other in the race, but I do think he could well come second in this.
Yeah. Well, he's whatever happens this year.
I wouldn't begrudge him winning it either. I love the old boy. Yeah. He was the anti-post fancy, but after he got beat in this race last year, he went a crazy price for the Stayers Hurdle, and I think he's 33s or whatever at the time. I thought it was a good run at when he came third in that, and he did run. He hit the frame, didn't he? Or just hit the frame at Cheltenham behind Flooring Porter. So he ain't got a lot to buy, mate.
No, he's rated 160. 7-2 shot. Now, one of the most controversial kind of Marmite horses. He's trying this trip after he won last time. He is a horse that divides opinion. But I said this earlier. You know, people say, "Oh, Goshen, they raise their eyebrows." He's 7-2 in this, going up for the Jamie Moore and Gary Moore. But you look at his career earnings, and you look at the amount of money and the races he's won. For all this, he's a rogue. He's a dodge pot. Possibly on occasion, but I tell you what, Judge, he wouldn't be a bad horse to own. He's won some money and he's won some big races. And that time at Wincanton, which made him, I think, second favourite for the Champion Hurdle. I mean, he just does not go left-handed. Let's not get into that. But Goshen has run. Yeah, he's run some. You look at these top speed guys and these guys who do like the time ratings for particular furlongs and stuff like that. They absolutely idolize this horse because he can run to some incredible fractions. It's Goshen. What do we think? Are you a layer or a player at 7-2?
Well, interestingly, but let's look at this. Everyone says he's quirky now. If you take right-handed soft ground form over hurdles, I don't think he's run a bad race, is he? I'm trying to work out when he has. His worst runs are left-handed, and he's still got some bits and pieces. Obviously, he would have won the Triumph that day. But even at Lingfield last year, he just got picked up over the last night when I was there. I thought he was a certainty jumping the last year, but he's third behind Brewing Up a Storm. He absolutely slaughtered that runner last time out. Another one of these 2-milers going slightly up in Tripside again, if you see what I'm trying to say. I think he's taken on some gnarly warriors here, and I just think perhaps he will get out-battled up that running.
The interesting thing about Goshen, judges, to me, is the appearance of Not So Sleepy in this race. Yeah, if he wasn't there, I think Jamie Moore might take a lead, slow it down, mess him about, and then use his turn of foot. If he were to get in a burn-up, if Not So Sleepy starts like he can do and goes 8 inches clear, Jamie Moore. Well, if he starts at all, I mean, him and Goshen in the same race, it could be carnage, couldn't it? Whether either of them start. But if he were to, Jamie Moore, to let Goshen have his head too early, I don't know, would he get home?
There is always that question mark. I like saying, once again, though, I'd rather back Goshen than Miranda, so I still wouldn't back it. But do you know what I'm trying to say? The prices. Yeah.
Now, Goshen's the sort of horse at 7-2. If he wins this and wins well, be one of those. Well, oh God, it was there.
Yeah, exactly. I see. It's a good race. It is.
It's a cracking addition to the card. I mean, we sit here when BHA and when racecourses deserve a slight kicking, we've given them a slight kicking, and they've richly deserved it. But I've got to say, what a brilliant addition to an already great card. It would have been very easy to just say, well, this is gone. The meeting was off. But they've rearranged it. They've stuck it on here. It's got some great subplots. Goshen is a real player in this race. But I'll come back to this game, and making it pay is all about one thing. Everybody thinks it's boring value. And I'll come back. Paisley Park has proven so many times winning these grade ones. And he's a bigger price than Goshen, who is unproven. All these people say, oh, he love it. He's crying out for it. Maybe right. He's not proven he can do it. whereas my boy has proven it and he's a bigger price. So that's why, yet again, I'm on Paisley Park. Now we come to one horse. Well, this race, Judge, has got some of the great characters in racing. Now, Champ has been at times in his career, I was just looking at some stats in his career. This horse, at given times in his career, has been favourite for a champion hurdle anti-post and a Gold Cup anti-post. Now, isn't that incredibly? Just how many horses in history have been favourite for a champion hurdle and a Gold Cup? Now, he won neither, but it shows you and he has run some performances, Judge, where he would have struggled to win a Cellar at Sedgefield. I mean, he's run some shockers, yet his very, very best is right up there. And he's another one like Paisley Park. People thought maybe last year his best was behind him, but he came roaring back and he won that. I've already said it's the race of the season for me so far. He won that battle with Paisley Park in a photograph. It's Champ. He's ridden by John Joe O'Neill Jr. I think he's a very, very good sort of link up for him. Trained by Nicky Henderson, the King of Kempton. I think you've alluded to he's probably going to be your selection, Judge. Yeah. My thing is all about the price. I put him and Paisley I could put a cigarette paper between them. I'm getting 4-1. However, you've got some angles that make you think Champ is the bet here.
I suppose the best way of looking at it, I think if you actually didn't know their running styles and looked at the form, you would think the way that you're thinking. I kind of look at it the other way. I think 2-1 for horse here. I think this horse will be travelling. He's the one horse that does travel on the bridle, and he's got the class angle. I mean, if you look last time out, he looked like he was going to win half the track, didn't he? And it was Paisley that stayed on and nearly reeled him in. It was a great race. He might have needed it on his first run. I know he has gone well fresh in the past, so I don't think that's a massive, massive positive. But I mean, I'm looking at his RPRs all last year. He's run pretty much high 150s, mid 160s all year. His one bad run was over at Aintree, which behind Sire Burley, which was a poor run. So he can still throw the odd one in. But for me, I think 2-1 is actually a very fair price because he's 8-15 to beat Paisley at Cheltenham when he got beat by him there. But he's like you say, he's often started short. And I think he's 2-1 because people think he is a bit of an enigma. I actually think he's a fair price. I personally, the way that I will be playing the race will be having a win bet on him and a small reverse with your selection because it's the same form line. I think wherever one finishes, I think the other one will be 3 or 4 lengths behind it. And I think that's the way to play the race. I can't have Miranda on my mind. And I think you've got a quirky couple to take on. I think it's a good bet, personally. So for me, give me a Champ.
Yeah. I mean, my other view, which I've got on my notes, is that both Champ and Paisley Park are what I call fan club horses. Public know them. They've been coming back year after year after year. Now, of course, if you back Paisley Park now and get that 4-1, you do risk him being a non-runner and you'll lose your money. If you wait to the day, you'll get stakes back. It's important to point that out. However, I see no reason, be very unlikely he's going to miss this race. The ground, everything's fine. Unless
I think we're all right now, Si. We're now not on the anti-post, so you would get your money back.
You get your money back. Good point, Judge. What I don't like is, if it's that on that.
I think the day before anti-post. I agree.
Yeah. So we're in that now. So it's a good point, Judge. Now, my point is this. A fan club horse, Paisley Park, Boxing Day, the family's round. Everyone's got the old Jack and Ellie on, all sat around watching. He is the sort of horse that people are going to have your 5s, 10s, whatever. Yes. I think he's going to be a market mover on the morning. I'm not saying for any great tipping reason or whatever. He's a public horse. He's a fan club horse. And I'm convinced, Judge, that he's not going to start 4-1 on Boxing Day.
I can see. Well, I think Miranda's got a drift, surely. So that's the point. So I think Champ's got to go from probably 2-1 to 11-8, 6-4, and I think Paisley Park's going to go from 4s to 3s. If you see what I'm trying to say,
I can see him going off 5-2, 11-4.
Yeah.
Goshen's a funny horse. He's often very, very well backed. We know Gary Moore horses can be well backed, but as we've seen this year, Judge, They can also, as we've seen to our cost. I suspect Goshen will be backed. I think Champ might drift, I really do. I think obviously they're going to have to meet the market. I think Miranda could go off 11-2. I honestly cannot see logic comes into it. She's obviously been well back. Nichols has touted her well up. People back Paul Nichols also, but I think she would drift. And I think that emotional fan club thing with Paisley will just I'll get going. I can see him going off 11-4 quite easily. It's going to be a fantastic race. It's going to be a great day's race in there. So it's Champ for the judge, and I'm on Paisley Park. So what do you think, folks? It's great race. Right. It adds to a fan. I think I've not been as excited about a Boxing Day for a long time, Judge. It's going to be super.
I think it's like saying
great racing at Weatherby.
Brilliant, isn't it? You've got Constitution Hill. You've got the King George, which is a good race this year.
Good race, and a big selection in that. It's a good race. I was because I'm such a boring, dull person, Judge. I spent a couple of hours last night looking at the Weatherby card, and I tell you what, on a normal day,
I've got one there.
A standout. And don't miss these other meetings, folks. I mean, Market Rising have got a superb card. Weatherby's a great card. Some of the others as well will be there. Big races, not just at Kempton. And then we've got Welsh National all the way. We'll be back next week. I think we might look at a Cheltenham New Year's Day race next week.
Yes, I think we'll find one.
We'll find one. So check out Judge's service, folks, on Boxing Day morning. Get your HFC emails. If you're not in HFC Club, will be a big free bet on Boxing Day. So join in and give us a thumbs up and like and share these vids. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas to everybody. And let's hope those bookies have their worst Boxing Day in living memory. All the best. See you, Judge. Happy Christmas, mate.
All the best, mate.